It's just something that's underpinning and underlining the dramatic shift that we're seeing in the real estate industry right now. No matter who wants to deny it, it's happening. If buyers are not waiving their inspection, they have a chance to actually see, they have a larger chance of seeing some of the issues with the property, which then gives them more probability of canceling the deal because now in Fountain, Colorado Springs, and El Paso County, so we have basically seen a doubling of cancellations by buyers. Buyer cancellations are up. June 2022 marked 15% of buyers canceling their transactions. What is going on? That's what we're going to talk about today. Welcome to Jerome in Real Estate. I'm Jerome, your local realtor here in the Fountain and Colorado Springs area. Let's get into it. All right, guys, I want to talk a little something here. And before we get started, I just want to remind everybody that if you like the content that I'm putting out and you do want to see this on a weekly basis, some of this good information, then please hit the like button and subscribe. Let me know that you're interested in this content. But what I want to do here is I want to go over cancellations, buyer cancellations that are happening. This month, we got a pretty stunning report. And then, I dug in locally and tried to figure out some of the cancellations here. And in my opinion, they're also stunning, right? It's just something that's underpinning and underlining the dramatic shift that we're seeing in the real estate industry right now. No matter who wants to deny it, it's happening. So this report here is from NBC News, okay? And I believe most of the information that they're getting is actually from a report out of Redfin or a study out of Redfin, some stats, right? So home buyers are canceling deals at the highest rate since the start of the pandemic, all right? So what they're seeing is that the home transactions canceled by buyers in June hit just under 15%. I mean, that is a big deal, okay? If we look here at some of the things that I highlighted, the share of sale agreements on existing homes canceled in June was just under 15%, right? That is the highest share since early 2020. What happened in early 2020? Pandemic. Basically, we had a earth-shattering event and people were scared out of their minds, not to mention, all the business industries, including the real estate industry. People, we had to shut down showings and all that kind of stuff, right? So everything basically got put on pause. And to now in 2022, be seeing a shift like that again, where we're still technically, I guess we're still in the pandemic, but we're supposed to be coming out of it. You don't see everybody running around with masks. People aren't scared of it. So what is happening? What is causing this dramatic shift? It's not another earth-shattering event, or maybe it is, right? So let's go through some of these reasons, okay? First and foremost, right here, higher mortgage rates, okay? Higher mortgage rates. That's just in the past 3 to 4 months, right? And of course, surge in inflation. And those two things are very linked, right? The surge in inflation is happening, and now the Fed is trying to bring down inflation by raising rates. So the average rate on the 30-year fixed mortgage started this year at around 3%, as it says here. And then right now we're sitting somewhere around, 5.75, depending on the company you use, right? But if we're sitting at 5.75% after only, 6 months into this year, that is a huge percentage jump, right? So that's what's partly to blame for this, earth shattering a little bit. Buyers are not into getting this type of mortgage rate, even though historically speaking, we're still at low mortgage rates. The shock of, first being at 3% and then seeing it basically double in 6 months that's a shock to people who were thinking of buying, right? And even if they were in, sometimes they have made the decision to buy, and by the time they finally got that perfect property, and they've put in their offers and everything, all of a sudden they may not even be able to afford the property anymore because their rate couldn't get locked in for that long. So now they're negotiating with their lender the new rate, and they're come to find out that it's 575 or could be higher, right? All right. So what else do we see here? Well, this is actually what I was just talking about. Some borrowers no longer qualify for the loans that they want, right? And that was one scenario that I was just talking about right now. This could be one of the issues. What else do we got? We have buyers are also seeing the once red hot market turn around quickly and dramatically. Um, that could be also due to, it's just a cascade of effects, right? Cascading effects. If buyers are now wary of buying because of the mortgage rates, then homes are going to sit on the market longer, right? This means that there's more inventory, there's more things for them to choose from. And that also will cut down on competition. The mortgage rates will also cut down on competition because there are only a certain few of buyers that are going to be able to handle that type of payment, right? So their competition is going down, which means that they're able to bargain a lot more. And I think that's one of the points here that I did highlight, right? Um, Here, we see that buyers are increasingly keeping rather than waiving inspection and appraisal contingencies. That's something you saw a lot over the past, 3, 4 years, well, three years or so, is that competition was so stiff that buyers wanted to do anything just to get the property. So one of the things they were doing was waiving their inspection, right? Now, if buyers are not waiving their inspection, they have a chance to actually see, they have a larger chance of seeing some of the issues with the property, which then gives them more probability of canceling the deal because now they see some of the issues that the property actually has, right? Things such as appraisal contingencies, all these appraisal gaps that we saw for so long are now out the window because competition is gone. Okay, you depending on exactly where you are, you may not need to put in things like appraisal contingencies. You've got another property down the street that you may be able to look at and say, okay, well, this one's up for sale now, and it's been sitting there for a minute, so let's go check that out. All right, all these things are coming into play. Here in this report, we're seeing that home builders are also seeing higher cancellation rates. All right. So nobody's getting left out of this. Everybody's feeling it. All right. Um, it seems that these trends will harden as the Fed continues to tighten until inflation subsides. Now, what does this really mean here? Well, it means that we still haven't gotten inflation under control. Um, and who knows when that'll be. But we do know that the Fed has already planned a couple more interest rate hikes, right? This is coming, and buyers know this. So they are fearing that things are only going to get worse for them. This is just going to cause even more of a cascading effect, right? This is not looking good right now. I had put out a video probably over a month ago now, and I'll try to link that. I'll find it and link it in the description of this one. But I had already warned that the market is changing, and that was just based off of what I had seen locally, right? I could feel that the market was changing. Buyers were not showing up at the same clip that they used to be to showings and open houses, and you could tell that the demand was definitely diminishing. And number one cause of that was exactly what the Fed wanted. the raising of the rates. They needed to slow demand, which in turn slows down inflation a little bit. Now, I have a problem with what the real underlying issue is, which to me is actually the debasement of our money, but we're calling it inflation. Okay, so we'll try to slow down inflation, but not deal with debasement of currency, which is, to me, that's the huge issue that nobody's dealing with. But what can we do? All right, so that is what I wanted to go over, but I wanted to throw out some numbers here regarding local in Fountain, Colorado Springs, and El Paso County, just to see where we actually were in contrast or in comparison to the rest of the nation, right? So cancellations. We'll start off big. El Paso County, right? El Paso County, Colorado. Cancellations in 2021. We had 74 cancellations in 2021. Okay. Now contrast that with in 2022, June. I'm sorry. So I meant June 2021. All right. June 2022, we had 167 cancellations this past June, right? That's more than double. Okay. In Colorado Springs, June 2021, there were 67 cancellations. And then this past June 2022, we had 123 cancellations. Once again, you're looking at double, right? In Fountain, 2021, June, there were only 2 cancellations. This past month, 2022, in June, we had 4 cancellations. So exactly double, right? So we have basically seen a doubling of cancellations by buyers in year over year in June, right? So isn't that something? And the cause here is absolutely inflation and the mortgage rate increases, and the fact that buyers had been frustrated for, it could be years, but more than likely it's just, many months in a row they had been frustrated trying to find homes. They couldn't because they had been being outbid, right? And then now they're getting their frustrations doubled again because the mortgage rates are up. So now they can't even afford it, right? So they got outbid and then mortgage rates went up. Now affordability is an issue, right? So this is spelling a serious turn. And we definitely need to make sure that if you need to buy, if you want to buy, you need to be a strong buyer. And that puts you in a good position to negotiate with the sellers now. You can negotiate for whatever you need because sellers are at I can't call it a huge disadvantage yet, but they are now feeling the shock of going back to a normalized market. All right. Sellers are now starting to realize that they can't just put their homes on the market with absolutely no preparation and nothing done. They can't expect inspection waivers and appraisal gaps. All right. It's time to come back down to reality. And buyers, you should let them feel that reality. Right? Let them feel that reality because that's how you get back to a normalized market. All right. Okay, so that's pretty much all I've got for today. If you like some of these tips, if you like the news, the info that I'm putting out, please subscribe and watch me next week with more info to come.